Hello and welcome to Sarah's Stamping Retreat. Today I'm going to be creating a cute shaker card using this Winnie celebration stamp from Polkadoodles. So I'm going to use my stamp positioning tool for this. This one's the Stamparatus, but you can obviously use any old one. So I'm just going to pick that up and then I'm just going to stamp this onto this spare white cardstock. You can see I've cut a load of stuff out of this. It really doesn't need to be anything special because I'm going to cut it out anyway. I prefer to use the stamp positioning tool if I'm doing kind of a bigger stamp like this, especially because this is a new stamp and sometimes new stamps don't stamp as well as when you've had them you've stamped them a few times. You can see this little bit in the middle hasn't stamped quite as well, so I'm just gonna press that down again. I can see that the ink is still on the stamp, so I'm just gonna press that down a bit. And that's transferred much better now. So I'm going to colour this in, and I really enjoy colouring, but it's not necessarily something that I excel at. So I'm actually going to use this as a bit of a guide as to where to put my light and shade. And I'm using my Copics. I'm not going to have it in the frame all the time, but I'm just going to be referring to this because this is just the Copics I have. You can see there's a whole ton that I don't have. But these are just the Copics that I have so that I can work out what colours I want to use. Now I'm obviously using the Copics, but I know not everyone has that brand. You can always just use whatever you've got on hand. So I've got E50, E53, 11 and E43. So I'm going to have a go with those and see how it comes out. So I'm going to do her with brown hair, so I'm going to use E53, E77, E57 and E49. So I'm really happy with how the skin came out, but I'm not as happy with the hair. So I'm going to go over a lot of the light with the next colour up, the E57. I'm going to do a blue dress, so I'm going to use B93, B95 and B97. And for the flowers I'm going to go R22 and R35. I'm just going to come in with this W1 and just add a bit of grey onto. Then for bottle, I'm going to use this BG96 and the G85, and maybe the YG63 as well. And then for the gold, I'm going to go with the YR23, YR31, Y21. And then I'm just going to bring in my gold metallic Sakura jelly roll pen just to add a bit of shine to those bubbles. You can't probably tell that it's made that much of a difference on camera, but it's just added that little bit of shine. So then I'm just going to cut this out. So then I'm going to bring in my card blank, which is 5" by 5" white card blank. Then this is a piece of Basil Basics cardstock that I've cut to 4 3/4 inches square. And then I'm going to use this die set from Polkadoodles. It's just called Posydoodles circles. So you get 2 circles that are just a plain one and 2 that have this kind of more interesting edge on them. I use the smallest one to cut a circle just out of the grey. So I just want to position this on here so I know where I want to cut it. So I'm going to make this into a shaker card. So I'm going to pop that just there. I'm going to run that through my die cutting machine. And then I'm going to make the shaker element. So I've got a piece of acetate that I'm going to just tape onto the back. I do prefer to use a double-sided tape rather than glue for acetate because I think it holds better. This is Hunky Dory acetate, but honestly any brand of acetate will do. We're not heat embossing or anything like that. Or even, you know, you sometimes get the clear plastic on packaging, you can use that as well. And then I'm just going to use some of this foam tape just around the outside of here. And I do need this to join up here, so I'm just going to add in this piece here and I'm going to butt it right up to the other piece, and then I'm going to cut it off right next to here. So we've got that nice full circle because that's going to keep our sequins in. And then I'm going to add some more around the outside just so that it's all the same height and the edges don't kind of flop down. And these are foam adhesive strips from Stampin' Up. It's quite a thick foam that's specially made for shaker cards, that kind of thing, where you need a bit of dimension. So I need to pop my sequins in. So these are unbranded sequins. I've had them for years, but I like the colour for this project. They're kind of like quite a nice like rose gold type sequin. So putting some on there, and I'm just going to put them into an area where I know this will go on top. Let's just check they're all in there. Yep, that's fine. Then I'm going to place this on. And you can see that shakes around nicely. And finally I want a happy birthday sentiment, so I'm going to use this one. And this is from the Big Birthday Surprise Polkadoodle set. Actually, I've changed my mind. I'm going to use this Hip Hip Hooray instead. So I'm just going to stamp that onto some of this white cardstock. And I'm just going to cut that down. And I'm going to pop these on dimensionals. Okay, so then after I finished filming, I suddenly realised that I had intended to put a frame around here. So I've cut a frame from using this and this, so the 2 smallest dies from this die set that I used to cut this. And so this obviously was a full circle, but because I've already done this, I've had to chop this bit off so that it just fits into there, and now I can glue it down and no one will know that it's not a full circle. But I just think that that finishes it off, so I'm going to pop it on even though I'm having to kind of bodge job it. But the thing is, nobody's going to know because the rest of the circle would be hidden under the girl anyway. So that just finishes that off nicely. So that's our card finished, and that just shapes that nicely. So I really hope that you enjoyed today's project. If you did, I'd appreciate you clicking like below. You can also press subscribe if you'd like to see future videos. If you press the bell button and select all, then YouTube will also notify you when I've got new videos available. All of the products that I've used today are linked below for you, and you can check out my blog. There's a link to that below as well if you'd like to see a picture shopping list. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon.